Arsenal finally outlines a response to secure Arteta's £33 million favourite. And to our delight, there is just in a great piece of news about the arrival of a new angry striker who has surpassed all the stars at Arsenal. Want to know all the details? Then follow me to the end of the video so you don't miss any important information. But before that, if you're also passionate about Arsenal, subscribe to the channel now and stay up to date with everything that happens behind the scenes at the Premier League's biggest team. Without further ado, let's get to today's updates. The Gunners have yet to lift a finger in the January transfer window. With less than a week remaining, nothing seems likely, but journalist Sacha Tavolieri has stated that something could still happen if Arsenal manages to do something before next week's deadline. The priorities for Arsenal in this window have been constantly changing, if you believe the rumours. Every Gooner wants a new striker in this window, but there has also been much talk of signing a new midfielder. Douglas Luiz was heavily linked at one point, but the most popular name among fans in recent weeks has been Amadou Onana. The £33 million Belgian has been on Arsenal's radar for some time, but Tavolieri claimed today that financial fair play regulations are ruining any chance we have of securing him from Everton. However, the journalist urged Arsenal fans to wait and see, as things could still change if Edu manages to sell one of our players before next week's deadline. Tavolieri tweeted, "Financial fair play is currently ruining the Gunners' chances of bringing the Amadou Onana deal to a successful conclusion. But wait and see, because a last-minute sale to Arsenal Football Club could obviously change everything. Amadou Onana is definitely a player Arsenal should look at. The Everton midfielder has been outstanding for them in the last 18 months, and it's only a matter of time before he moves to a bigger club. However, a move to Arsenal in the next few days is extremely unlikely, as none of our players who could be sold for a significant amount are close to the exit door. Therefore, a move in the summer is much more realistic, and Onana is someone Arsenal should seriously consider, especially if Thomas Partey ends up leaving, which is likely to happen soon. So let's cross our fingers and hope this transfer materialises as soon as possible." Arsenal have been credited with an interest in Callum Wilson, who has now been made available for just £18 million as Newcastle United are seeking to offload the player. Arsenal's need for a striker is obvious. Gabriel Jesus has netted just 3 times in the Premier League so far this season, whilst Eddie Nketiah has chipped in with 5 goals, though 3 of those strikes came as a hat-trick against newly promoted strugglers Sheffield United. Bukayo Saka, on the right flank, is the Gunners' top scorer so far this season in the Premier League, having found the back of the net 6 times in the competition. However, the 22-year-old winger has only scored once in his last 7 outings in the division. Meanwhile, Wilson has outscored every Arsenal player in Premier League terms this season, as the 31-year-old already has 7 goals to his name despite not being a nailed-on starter for the Magpies. Newcastle legend Alan Shearer believes that the fact that Wilson is not a guaranteed starter on Tyneside will have led the 9-cap England star to have become really angry with his situation there, as quoted by Yahoo. That may explain why Eddie Howe is now so keen to get the player out of St James's Park. Should Arsenal sign Callum Wilson this month? The player's unsettled situation and goal-scoring capabilities suggest that he could offer a quick fix for the Gunners' woes in front of goal. However, even the relatively meagre fee of £18 million for a proven Premier League striker could prove beyond Arsenal's reach at this time, as the club are struggling with a severe lack of financial resources. What's more, Wilson is neither an elite nor a long-term option. He could do a job until the end of the season, but he will want a far longer contract than that in order to agree to a switch to the Emirates Stadium. As such, Mikel Arteta must resist the urge to bring in Wilson now, and instead focus on coaxing more out of the attacking options that he already has at his disposal for the rest of the season. Then, in the summer, Arsenal will be in a position to invest more heavily in one of the many exciting strikers that they have already been linked with. Transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano has now provided an update on Arsenal transfer target Karim Benzema. The veteran striker is currently plying his trade in Saudi Arabia with Al Ittihad. However, things are not going swimmingly for the 36-year-old. Fabrizio Romano has now reported the latest information on the Frenchman's situation. Speaking on the Men in Blazers podcast, he said, Karim returned to training with Al Ittihad, He's regularly training now with the squad, but not with the rest of the group. He's training by himself, I am told. He's training alone. It is a very tense situation between Benzema, people at the club, the manager. They are not happy at all with the current situation. Arsenal may well be tempted to take advantage of this disharmony to try to lure Benzema to the Emirates Stadium. The former Real Madrid man would certainly be an interesting addition to Mikel Arteta's current squad. The Gunners are in need of a new striker. Gabriel Jesus and Edin Nketiah have both failed to score consistently this season. Whilst Arsenal have been linked with a host of top-level strikers, none will come cheaply, and a lack of financial resources is a real problem for the club at this time. Could Arsenal strike a late deal for Karim Benzema? It is possible that Al Ittihad would be willing to allow Benzema to leave on loan, given his unsettled status at the club. Such a deal could prove affordable for the Gunners, and on a short-term basis the player would have something to offer. Benzema may also be attracted by the challenge of testing himself in the Premier League, given he has never featured in the division before. Of course, the 97-cap former France international is not quite the player he once was, and Arteta could not rely on him to start matches week in, week out. He is more than capable of providing a solid rotation option, though, or of impacting matches from the bench. He would also bring plenty of additional experience to the Arsenal dressing room. Benzema has enjoyed a glorious club career to date, winning 4 La Liga titles, 4 League One titles, and 5 Champions League crowns, amongst numerous other honours. With Arsenal now targeting a Premier League title triumph of their own, having that kind of winning know-how in and around the squad can only prove to be helpful. A surprise late swoop for the 2022 Ballon d'Or winner is something to keep an eye on, as Arsenal's opportunity to do any business at all in this January transfer window edges closer to passing them by entirely. Row your boat. And to wrap up the video, we have some very interesting news, as RB Leipzig is interested in a loan deal to bring the versatile Arsenal midfielder, Emile Smith-Rowe, back to the club. The 23-year-old spent the second half of the 2018-19 season on loan at Leipzig, with injuries limiting him to just 3 Bundesliga appearances. And having fallen down the pecking order under Mikel Arteta, the Sun have stated that the Germans are keeping tabs on his situation and are eyeing another loan with a view to a permanent switch. However, it appears unlikely he will be leaving the Emirates this month, as TalkSport previously reported he wanted to fight for his place at Arsenal, having decided against a loan move to West Ham. Arteta also remains a huge fan of the player, something that is hard to understand because he is still far below the level of his teammates. In my humble opinion, he should be loaned out as soon as possible. In order to do that, we have to give him minutes. Well, folks, those were today's news. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay informed about everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell so you won't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and see you in the next video.